A very good morning to you. Welcome to Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. Well, do you know someone who has suffered abuse, perhaps in a relationship or even in their marriage? Or perhaps could you be that person that has suffered abuse or continues to suffer abuse in your relationship or in your marriage? Or could it even be that you yourselves are the abuser and you have been tuned into this conversation today? Well, because we aim to bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories here at Motivation Monday, today we bring you an inspiring story. Do you know that this particular period of time, we are joining several people all over the world as we are having 16 days of activism against gender-based violence? Yes, this will be ending on the 10th of December. And today we want to talk about this particular issue. And our subject for today is when bliss becomes bruises. When bliss becomes bruises. Our guest is someone who has suffered this particular issue that we are talking about and has emerged on the other end victorious. And by God's grace, she's managed to find the courage to actually share her story so that others may find help. In fact, she's even captured her story in a book, Scars of Matrimony, as you can see. Tina's story of hope and despair. Together with that, she's written a devotional, a 31-day devotional on the same. Scars of Matrimony, broken yet unbreakable. And today we have the privilege of sitting down with Romana Chieti to have this conversation. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is an honor and a privilege to have a sit down with you as we have this conversation when bliss becomes bruises. Before we get right into your story and just the gist of this conversation, help us by way of introduction to appreciate who Romana is.
My name is Romana Chieti. I'm a Kenyan born in Ukambani, Machakos. Currently, I reside in United States, but my family is here, except one daughter. She's in Spain. I have 4 children, 3 girls, 1 boy, and I'm blessed with 4 grandchildren.
Wow.
So it's a blessing to have them. And I know I started writing this book before they were born. I was kind of scared to write it or share it, but I felt God wanted me to share this experience so that I can help other women. So it's all for the glory of God. That's why I'm sharing this story.
Wow. Thank you. And thank you so much for even the courage and the boldness to have a feast sitting with us, but also even for writing a book to capture your story. Now, this particular period, we're talking about 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. What does that mean for you, even before we get into your own story? When you hear of stories of, especially women, there are some men, but a majority of those that suffer, through gender-based violence are women. What comes into your mind and your heart, especially in a season like this?
It's so unfortunate that we are losing so many women, and the statistics, as I shared before, is we are losing a woman every 10 minutes.
Oof.
This is worldwide. So the 16 days is international, and the activist is about advocating, telling people it's time to say no, to stop domestic abuse. Because we're losing mothers, we're losing aunties, we're losing our girls. Our girls, they don't have enough information on picking their future husbands because they don't know what they should be looking at. They don't know the red flags. And if they know the red flags, that's a time like to start seeking advice or counsel. Talk to somebody who's mature and share these red flags so that they can get away from that relationship. Or if they feel there's a future for them, the person can seek help. So for our girls, most of them who are going through this abuse, domestic abuse, it's so unfortunate because they don't have that education. And men also need to know what they need to do. Because I say love doesn't hurt. Because you can't love someone and at the same time hurt them. So they need to find a way of co-living together and finding a way to solve situations. They don't have to resort into physical fight.
Yeah.
The men are stronger than the women. So I'm really happy that we are doing these 16 days to talk about domestic abuse like GBV, because it's happening everywhere, and we can help women out there.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here today, because if I can help one woman, if I can help two,
Yeah.
I don't feel shy anymore to talk about my story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horror, but I want to talk this horror
Yeah.
to help other women.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, let's then get to a bit of your story. And I don't even know where you want to begin it, but where you are comfortable and free. Please just tell us a bit about your story, because I know there's somebody out there that perhaps might find help.
So my story is long. I've captured it in a book, and I will advise women to read the story.
Yeah.
So this Tina's story of hope and despair. Tina is me. So I'm using that. I'm written it in that person.
Yeah.
And the names are fiction names for the people. So this is Tina. This is me talking about my life in domestic abuse. And as I said, I felt called to write this book many years ago. And nobody wants to share their dark secrets with people.
Yeah.
But it's not about people. It's about God, our master. What does he want me to do? So I kept on saying no. But finally I said, yes, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So it has taken so many years. I started writing this right after I left. And my children are they already have grandchildren. The grandchildren were not there then.
Yeah.
Because I actually feel for the women because of the society. They don't want to say what is happening. So I started to write the book, share my experience, share my challenges, what I went through, and then share my victory, courageous, because I'm here now.
Yeah.
Talking to Pastor Elijah, and it's all because of God. It's all because of obedience, and it's all because I said it's not just about me. If we can help other women and tell them talk, because the more they keep quiet, we are losing them.
Yeah.
They're dying because they're not seeking help about what to do. And so this is the main thing, like reach out to someone, talk to someone, get the help.
Yeah.
So in my relationship, I got married when I was so young. And it looks so beautiful because I see this tall guy and he's in the Navy. I love uniform. So I joke because I say, I must have loved the uniform before the man.
Yeah.
So we started dating, and I didn't have much information about dating and getting into relationships. This is another thing that the parents are not talking about.
Yeah.
Parents need to talk to their girls and boys about sex. They need to talk to them about dating. They need to talk to them about their bodies. Don't shy away, talk to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better for them to know than to find that information from other people.
That's true.
So we met and we started dating. And I remember one time we go to this base, and there's someone from my village. Like when everybody was introducing themselves, so he says his name, I believe Mutua. Then we got talking so excitedly because you're coming from the same village. So I looked by the side. He was looking at me with those bad eyes. I didn't know what is this.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about is if there's that jealous, if somebody cannot trust you just to talk with another male friend or someone you have met and you're just chatting away, that's one sign. Those are red flags.
Yeah.
So I'll briefly talk about the red flags.
Okay.
So the red flags you'll find they're so jealous of you talking to a male partner. They also want to monitor your movement wherever you go.
Yeah.
If you are supposed to come back at in 1 hour's time, you are late by 15 minutes, they are blowing your phone. Where are you? Why are you late? They want to monitor or rather I advise you on your dressing. You can wear this, you cannot wear this. They want to separate you from your family and friends. They say, spend more time with me, babe. I love you so much. And you think that is love, but it's not love. Then there's, they also monitor if they are giving you money. They want to know the breakdown of all the money. They don't want you to remain with any money with you.
Yeah.
So these are some of the red flags. There are many, but these are the major ones.
Yeah. And these are some of those that, in your own experience, are some of the things that you saw.
Yes, because looking back, those are the things I saw and started writing so that I can help the women to know, like, what are the red flags when I am dating this person.
Yeah.
And then they are charmers. They are really charmers. They charm people. They are easy to get along with almost everybody. And wherever they go, they pick conversations with people like this.
Yeah.
They are comfortable talking to anybody. So if you tell someone, this person is doing this to me, they'll never believe that. Because they give a different image outside, but when they are with you, they're different. So those are the characteristics.
Yeah, yeah. So your instance, if we go back to the story you were just giving us, so you're in this space and you're chatting up with a man who happens to come from the same village that you came from, and all of a sudden there's jealousy that comes as a result of that.
Yes.
What does that lead to now?
So he questioned me later when we went back to our lodging. What were you talking about? You seem to be so much engrossed in this conversation. And I said, oh, we're so excited because we just found out we come from the same village.
Yeah.
Nothing else. So he didn't say anything, and I thought that's gone. But much later on, as years went by, that's when I started going backwards, like recollecting all the information, whatever we went through. And that's then when I started putting them down in my book to see the things which I could have picked.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I'm supposed to be picking. So I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, okay. So does this questioning then lead, is this like the beginning of the abuse? Is this what, a part of, this journey of pain and turmoil, so to speak?
No, we're still dating.
Oh, this is oh no.
Yeah,
so you're not even married yet?
We're not married. So we're still dating. So he was angry. We went back to Mombasa and life continued. And in a few months, I discovered I was expecting a child. So when I talked to him, we decided we are going to get married. Reason being, it's good to have a child with two parents under one roof. So we began those plans to do a traditional wedding, go to my parents, seek their blessings, then go to his parents. So we were not married then. We were still dating. Yes.
Wow. And you're saying that was already a red flag.
It is.
That you could easily have picked even before you got into marriage.
Yes.
Wow. I'm just wondering, even as we continue with this conversation, because I have heard sometimes where girls are even told, like people can see the red flags, and they tell you, but this is a red flag. Is there something that causes girls, women to overlook, sometimes even when the red flags are so glaring in their sight?
I think what they show you, they spoil you. Like he used to spoil me with gifts. Like gifts. Like even when he gets angry, you come back with gifts. So most of the time, these gifts, they blind girls. They think this is love. That he's sorry about what he did. So and even if there's an argument, he just confesses and says, I'm so sorry. It's not going to happen again. And then you sit there. But I believe at the mind of every woman, every married woman, even before you get into that marriage, there's something that tells you
Yeah.
It's something that tells you this is not going to. But for me, it's like, okay, I'm expecting. And I feel like there are some things which I should not go into this marriage, but I still went through that marriage because I feel like it is good to have this child with two parents under one roof.
Yeah.
And in my book, I'm telling women, you don't have to get married because you are pregnant.
Yeah.
You can co-parent that child because things happen. And I'm saying because you're not talking about sex to our children, then they get into trouble.
Yeah.
So what happens if your child is pregnant and this person is not the right person? Support that child.
Yeah.
Support that girl. Don't force them into a marriage.
Yeah.
Because we also see these arranged marriages quickly when they find out a girl is expecting a child.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. Have that child, bring up that child,
Yeah.
and when she's ready, she's going to meet someone. Because it doesn't matter. There's so many people who will marry you with your two children or one.
Yeah.
They're okay as long as they love you.
Yeah. Wow, I like that. I want us to just pause and ponder a bit on that because this is a bit of a heavy story and conversation.
Yeah.
So I want us to take a song break, and then when we come back, we continue this conversation because this is truly an inspiring story. Well, we are talking about this day when bliss becomes bruises, and I don't know if that is your story. You got yourself in a relationship or perhaps in a marriage, and this thing that was supposed to bring much joy and happiness to you turned out to be your worst nightmare. That is the conversation we are having today. Feel free to share with us what your own experience, comment, feedback. Feel free to be anonymous. We will not want to shame anyone or expose anyone, but we would love that you will be helped today. 20316 is our SMS line. 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. This is Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. My name is Elijah Mokaya, and our guest today is Romana Kieti, the author of a fantastic book, Scars of Matrimony, Tina's story of hope and despair, narrating her own journey. And the conversation we are having today is when bliss becomes bruises. Even this period of time that we are having 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And what a conversation this has been so far. And so I want us to just get right into it, even as you continue sending us your comments on 20316, which is our SMS line, or 0786 316 316, which is our WhatsApp line. But for now, let's get back to this conversation. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am lost for words when on the other side of this conversation, just the realization that already at the dating stage this had happened. But now we left this conversation where now there's a baby on the way, and the best thing that is proposed is let's get married because it is better when a child is under both parents, and now you are in marriage. And I want you to just continue narrating to us your story, even as you speak about the various forms of abuses that people have to go through, and unfortunately that you also had to go through.
Thank you. So we get married because we think this is the right thing to do. And you don't have to get married just because you are pregnant.
Yeah.
Take care of your child. God is going to provide. So 6 months into the baby, like when the baby was 6 months, that's when the first abuse happened, like a physical abuse.
Yeah.
And there are so many kinds of abuse.
Yeah.
There's a physical abuse, there's a psychological abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's economic or financial abuse. Those are the most common ones.
I think there's also even sexual abuse.
There's sexual abuse. So I went through all those abuses. So the psychological happened when my firstborn child was 6 months. And we had gone, my sister came to my house and said, hey, let's go to a movie. And I said, oh, I haven't been out since the birth of this child. Because when the child was born, I put 100% into bringing up this child. And he participated as well. Like, he loved this child. So he was helping in every way possible. So we go to the movie and we come back. I come back to the house around 6 or there 7-ish there. So my sister dropped me. I went up the stairs. I'm whistling. I'm feeling good because I haven't been out. He started actually going out without me.
Yeah.
And so when this opportunity came for me to go out with my sister, I did not hesitate. I just changed and went out to the movie. So I come upstairs, turn the door lock, and it's locked. Then I looked at my watch. We don't lock the house until 8 p.m. So it's like, why is the door locked? So I knocked again, nothing. I kept on knocking, then finally he came, he opened the door. Just a crack. He asked, where are you coming from? I said, I left a note in the house with the nanny telling you I've gone to the movie with my sister. He said, you made a big mistake. You cannot go to the movie without my permission. And he banged the door on my face. So it's like, what really happened here? I stood there, knocked again. I kept on knocking for almost 10 minutes, hoping he'll change his mind. He came again. He said, stop wasting your time. Go. You're not welcome here. So I stood there, hesitated. What do I do? I took a matatu to my sister's house, and that's where I slept. Then I'm so worried about my child. She was still breastfeeding, and it's the first time I'm away from home.
Yeah.
So the next day, with my brother-in-law said, I'll drop you to the house. I'll go talk to him. Maybe he will listen and let you in. So we came together. But when we reached down the flights of the stairs, he said, you know what? I think it's better you face him alone, but I'll pass by after an hour to see what really transpired. So I went up the stairs, knocked on the door, and when he opened, he saw it's me. He began to knock the door. And I don't know where I got that strength from. I just banged on that door, and then my handbag got caught in between. So I just sneaked in because the door could not bang. It could not shut. I went in. So I'm running to my kid. I'm missing my kid. But I never even reached to where the kid is. The nanny was holding the child in the living room. So he just swung me. And I was slapped. Pa! I've never felt such pain. And before I know it, it's like, pa! Then, it's like I'm holding my cheeks. It's so painful. Nobody has ever slapped me. Our parents used to punish us, but just with either a belt or a stick. So it's like, what's really happening here? And then now he's ready to hit me again. The nanny stood in between me and him, still holding the child. And this nanny was such a young girl. I don't know where she got the courage. And I'll forever be grateful for her. Been trying to look for her. I don't know where she is. This is many years ago. So she stood there holding the baby. He looked at her menacingly. He said, get out of the way. And she did not move. If you care about your job, get out of my way. She did not move. So he was so frustrated about that, the girl standing between us. So the hand is still raised. So he left it and he went to the bedroom. So I just slumped on the floor, holding my burning cheeks. And it's almost the same time my brother-in-law walks in. So he just looks at the situation and he knew there's been fighting here. So he called us, told us, sit down. He talked to us. And then he said, okay, it will not happen. My brother-in-law left. We continued life. I thought that's the end of it. But I was so wrong to think that it was the end of the violence at that time. So that's the physical abuse. That's how it started.
Wow. And there was no, other than your brother-in-law sitting you down, there was no other conversation about it. It just ended like that.
No. We talked with him, the three of us. And then the brother-in-law left and told him, like, there are better ways to solve problems. You don't resort in physical fights. Yeah.
Wow. And now, how does the relationship look? Like, how do you proceed? How do you move on after something so significant has happened?
So, as I said, I was still so young. I have a child, and nobody has ever beaten me. I did not grow up in a home where there's domestic violence. So since we've talked with brother-in-law, I hoped this is gone. There's that awkward moments, maybe a day or two. Then life went back to normal. And then my other 3 kids came very quickly. Like, he did not want me to use any birth control. That's another thing, by the way, that women need to know. If someone is telling you don't use this, because, I mean, you should space those children. But to them, they want you to have as many kids or to be there for them. When you use birth control, number one, they think you're going to have an affair with other people. That's what I learned from him.
Yeah.
And also, they want you to be there like forever, because if you have 2, 3 children, you won't live.
Yeah.
You can't afford to take care of them by yourself. So those are some of the tactics they use.
Oh, wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting that somebody would weaponize, something like that.
Oh, yes.
And that is very sad. And so this was just but the beginning of many in terms of physical abuse that you would have to suffer. And this is at the early stages of your
Yes.
marriage?
Yes.
And how many years did you stay in the marriage?
20.
20 years.
Yep.
Why would you stay for 20 years?
Because, okay, I have children.
Yes.
4 young children, because I had them every year after the other. So 4. But I got wise, because he doesn't want me to use birth control. I went to my doctor and told him I need to do this. So I had to, because I could see there's abuse, and I was suspecting he's having affairs, but I could not. I did not have
proof.
I do not have proof.
Yeah.
So my kids are young, and both of us are working in the government. That time I was working in a government ministry. Then I moved to a parastatal, working at the airport. So for me, like, we had divided the responsibilities of who is going to do what.
Yeah.
Since it's easy for me to get loans for my workplace, so he told me, you need to get a loan. We buy family land to build a house. And me, I'll shoulder all the other responsibilities. Bills, paying school fees for the children, blah, blah, blah. So I just did that, because I thought this is for the family.
Yeah.
Why not do it? So I did that, but at some point, he decided he's not going to support the family.
Oh.
So this is where now the financial constraints,
yeah.
abuse, economic abuse come from, and I'm just talking about it in brief.
Yeah.
So here I am, I'm paying this loan, and whatever else, my share, I'm paying it. But he decided he's not going to support the family. And by that time, he had already left the armed forces. He was doing a business we started together. So the business was doing so good, but he wouldn't give me money. I was struggling, and that's the time I'm suspecting there's a woman. Because you see it.
Yeah.
Whatever, a woman will know whether a man is having an affair. But sometimes it's denial. So I know something is happening. I asked him, hey, let's talk about this. He said he denied everything. And so one day I'm in the office. This woman comes to the office, and she told me, I got some information, and I thought I would let you know. She's a colleague. I don't know much about her. We just say hi. So that's a woman who told me about the affair. She told me, actually, it's my sister-in-law who is having an affair with your husband. But I didn't know about it because they are calling him by the nickname. And you use his official name.
Yeah.
And my world crumbled. Like, my world crumbled. So I'm there in the office. crying and asking God all these questions, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know? So during that time, there's an affair, there are economic constraints. I don't know what to do. He has money, but he refuses to give me money for food. So the little I'm getting, I'll go buy stuff from a wholesale shop, but it's not even enough to cover for everything. But it's like tormenting you. They like that, tormenting you.
Yeah.
So this continued until I had to reach out to his mother and his late brother. And then they came, talked to him and told him, you have to provide for your family. And it's during that time I also decided to start a small generating business because I decided I need to have my own money.
Yeah.
So I started a cleaning service, and I started distributing cashew nuts in the beach hotels who were still living in Mombasa to have extra income. So when you find yourself in such situation, what do? God has given you that sound mind to make those wise decisions. And that's what I started. And I also wanted to go to school, and he wouldn't hear of it. I wanted to go back to do my degree.
Yeah.
He said, no, you don't need to go back to school. I can provide for the family. That was before he backed out from all this. So they'll make sure you don't have any extra money.
Yeah.
And if they give you that money, they'll plan for it until you are left with nothing. There's nothing like you can go buy yourself a perfume.
Yeah.
Those are the financial, economic constraints.
Wow, and this is just too much. So you here, there's physical abuse. Now there's financial abuse.
Yes.
I mean, you have a loan. You've taken a loan for the family, and you have to incur the burden of repaying that.
Yes.
There's emotional abuse. I mean, there's somebody out there also who's been brought now into the marriage. You know, there's an affair that has happened, and this is a lot.
Yes, it is.
And you still have to be strong for your children.
Yes.
Wow. I want us to again take a pause and ponder on that, because on the other side, as you share a bit on either other forms of abuse that we want to talk about, is now I want to get to your turnaround. You know, where now finally you experienced victory and were able to sort of disentangle yourself rather, you know, from those chains. But let's pause on this as we ponder again, you know, on much that has been said. Listen to this song and then get back to this conversation. Well, what a conversation this is. Quite a heavy one we are having today, when bliss becomes bruises. Welcome back. This is Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories like the one we are having today. Quite an inspiring story, speaking into the subject that we are having, when bliss becomes bruises, especially in this period when we are having 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And I want us to get right back into this conversation because there's much to be talked about and very little time. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Wow. Now, your story is quite a lot, to be honest, and you know, you've talked about the various kinds of abuses. You're in this marriage situation for 20 years. You know, are there any other forms of abuses you'd want to speak about even now as you get into, when was your turnaround? You know, when did the escape from all this finally happen?
So abusers will also use emotional abuse.
Yeah.
They'll put you down all the time. You may be in a crowded place trying to make conversation with other people, and they may just give you a look. It's like, shut up. You're not supposed to say anything.
Yeah.
Then they'll use words. They'll make you feel dumb. You don't know anything. They tell you don't know anything, and they start even to compare you with other people they know. You are supposed to be like so. Why can't you dress like so and so? You come back with a hairstyle. I don't like that hairstyle. Why can't you, you know, all those kind of things. So all that is emotional, and I know there's so many people who are going through that.
Yeah.
But I find most of the time, mostly it's physical, emotional, and financial. Then the sexual abuse is, you know, sex in a marriage is consensual. So if someone have sex with the wife without consent is rape, period.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. That happens a lot. You have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Because you're in a marriage together. And it's not every time a woman will be ready to get intimate with the husband.
Yeah.
So that's another emotional, it's another abuse that happens a lot in a marriage. And then I think technology, that's when they monitor your emails, they monitor your phone, they monitor, like you go print out my, whatever calls I've made or text messages, you go to Safaricom and get that printout. And he wants to know, who did you talk to? Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? And I'll be put through all that.
Wow.
To say who are those people. So those are the traits of abusers. That's what they will do, and they will not stop it. And they will disassociate you with your family because they think you're going to talk to your family, you're going to tell them what is happening, and they'll give you wise advice on what to do.
Yeah.
Even your friends, they don't want you to hang out with them. So that's actually under emotional.
So you become isolated. So you're in this space where you're being abused and you're suffering.
Yeah.
You have absolutely no outlet. You do not have any other space other than this one where all you're doing is suffering abuse. Suffering
abuse. Go to work, get home on time. But he may not be there. He may just be there to monitor you at home and he's gone. Yeah.
Wow. Then when does the turnaround happen?
I kind of, as I say, I was saying, I don't want to leave my children. They're so young. There's a mistress. If I leave, she'll come here, mistreat my children. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to suffer, knowing there's a mistress, there's abuse, at least until my kids, the youngest is 18 years old. At least they can stand for themselves.
Yeah.
And that was not a smart move, whoever is listening. It wasn't a smart move because I would have lost my life between that time that I'm trying to help the children. Yes, it's good to help the children, but think about yourself. Because if you die trying to help them,
you can't help them now.
Exactly, you can't help them. So I say to myself, you know what, 18, my baby is 18 and I'm going to move. But it didn't reach until 18. I had to leave when she was 17 and a first year in high school. And I still didn't leave. My friend, I remember telling me, Romana, you need to leave. You're going to die.
Yeah.
And I'm asking her, what about my children? And then we had just been retrenched, and I had a construction going on. I'm telling her, I just started a construction. She told me, you can make money later. Because when you are dead, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's gone and it's gone. So after much thinking, I started thinking about all this. And during that, the construction, when I'm doing the construction, I learned the hard way because all the lands we had bought, the loans I was taking, he sold them without my knowledge.
Oh, no.
And I remember when I was asking, he said, actually, that's just peanuts. My mistress, the mother is very rich. They're going to give me more money. I start business with her. And during that time, he took a framed photo of that woman and placed it beside his beds.
Wow.
Where, like there, for me to see every day. So this time when this construction came, I'm saying, you know what? I'm not going to involve him because of whatever we had is been selling and I don't know where it is going. So he kept on pressuring me. He wants to take care of the terminal benefits that I got for the construction. And I kept on saying no. So one day, actually what I told him, you know what, you can supervise, but I'll keep the money.
Yeah.
I'll buy whatever materials. Then I come to discover later, whatever materials I buy, sometimes he will resell them.
Oh, no.
And then, so this one evening he came, he says he wants the control of the money, and I said no, and then that's when another major abuse happened. And that's the time I decided I'm running, whether with or without anything. And I didn't even have time to pack anything in because I'm afraid it will come.
Yeah.
So my daughter was in college, the others are in boarding school. So she was a day scholar. So I'm just standing, I don't know what to do. Then I heard voices and I thought it's him who's coming back. So I peered through the curtain. I saw it's my daughter and our friend. And it's like, I've never cried before them. Seeing them is like, I'm just crying. And she's asking me, Mom, what is it? I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Then finally it's like reality hit. Like this man can come anytime, finish what he started.
Yeah.
I started firing instructions. So I told our friend, she's an orphan girl who used to spend a lot of time in my house. It's like a daughter to me. I called her, ran to the main road, get me a taxi. I told my daughter, help me pick a few things. So I was just removing things from the closet, throwing on the bed. Then I remembered the most important things are the certificates, passport, ID. So I went, took those. The taxi came. When I saw the lights, I think it's him, and I'm shaking like a leaf. So the cab comes, I see my other daughter, and then we were just carrying the clothes. We didn't have time to put them in suitcases. We just threw them at the back of the cab. And I told my daughter, don't just say you don't know where I went.
Yeah.
Didn't say me. So that's how I left.
Wow.
And I went to my sister's house in Mikindani, somewhere in Mombasa. Then I started getting the death threats. So I was on the run.
So even after you have left, he's still after you.
Yeah.
Now, there's too much to this conversation. And I want you now, as you tie up your story, somebody's listening like, but that's me. I want you to speak to two categories of people. The first category, we have just about maybe 5 or so minutes before our time is over. The first category are people in an abusive relationship or marriage. But the second category are the abusers themselves, who perhaps could be tuned in. What would you like to say to them?
Okay, I will address the women first.
Yes.
The women, as we know, most of them are either housewives, and if they're married by an abuser, the abuser will tell them all the reasons why they should not go to work. But that's a form of control because they are control freaks. So they don't want you to go to work. If you have money, most of them, they'll bunch it to the last, the coin, so that you don't have any money left to you that can give you an idea of going. So the question you should ask yourself is it worth dying trying to work in a marriage? Because deep in our hearts, we know if a situation is going to change or not.
Yeah.
You know it. So my advice is think about that. If you feel there is hope for your marriage, seek that help from a distance. As in, I'm not advocating for divorce.
Yeah.
No, that's your decision to do. That's every woman's decision to make.
Yeah.
But get out, seek help from a distance.
Yeah.
And reach out to your man if you think there's hope for this marriage. Because if he can get counseling and you can get counseling, then there's hope.
Yeah.
But if there's no hope, make that decision on what to do. Because it's either you're in a casket and you have no use to the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, why are you going to the casket with all the talents, gifts God has given you? Because each one of us has something to offer this world.
Yeah.
There's something to offer the world. Don't go into that casket because you want to keep a marriage. And don't worry about the society, the stigma.
Yeah.
No, your life is yours alone. If you lose your friends, let them go. I lost almost all except 3.
Yeah.
Because those are not friends. If they cannot help you when you are in need, they are not friends.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. One of the things you had mentioned to me earlier before we began the show is that you have a Facebook group?
I do.
Is it still there?
It is, yeah.
What's the name?
It's Hopeless to Awful.
hopeless to hopeful.
hopeful.
All
Yes.
right, and
Yes.
somebody can go there and like the page and all right, okay, and that I think is a good space also
Yep.
for women who are in a situation like this, hopeless to hopeful. Do check that out. What do you say to abusers then, even as we conclude this conversation?
So the abusers, I know there are also women abusers, but the majority is the men abusers.
Yeah.
And the men, you are so strong. You do not have to be this woman. I mean, talk, sit down, have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because there's no situation or there's no situation you can settle or talk and get, to the root of it.
Yeah.
And I always say, if you're so angry, take a walk. 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 And even wait until the following day to
Yeah.
bring this conversation again. And most abusers, they have an issue also. They need to seek help because you'll find an abuser probably comes from an abusive family. The parents, maybe they were also abusing, the father was abusing the wives.
Yeah.
So that's why I say in my book, like, get as much information as you can about your man before you go into a marriage.
Yeah.
Because most of them, they are carrying all this baggage with them. And now when they get married, that's the time they start doing what their parents were doing. But you don't have to hate your wife. You say
Yeah.
you love her.
Yeah.
No. Just talk with her, love her, and if you need help, just go for counseling. Go to a pastor, look for someone who has been through this,
Yeah.
and you're going to get that help so you can live together in harmony.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, thank you so much. I think this is an important conversation, both for the women and for the men. I like what you've mentioned to parents, and I want to give you just another last opportunity to speak to parents who are raising both girls and boys who in the future could be potential abusers or the ones who are being abused. One last word in a minute to parents.
So the parents, please don't be shy to talk to your girls and boys, because this is not just about girls. Boys are being abused and they're also abusing others. And if you don't talk to them, then you're raising abusers. And number two, if you stay in an abusive relationship, the message you're passing to your children, your daughters and your sons, it is okay to be abused and it's okay to abuse other people. Because even when they don't talk about it, they know what is happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They know everything. So parents, talk to your girls, talk to your boys, talk about sex, talk about marriages, talk about, be open, talk to them. Don't sweep those things under the carpet because that's the African culture that people are still doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Romana. There is much to talk about, but thank God that you have an entire book, and it's a big book. And so do catch that conversation. Feel free to get a copy. Scars of Matrimony, Tina's Story of Hope and Despair. Or if you like, you can actually get the devotional, Scars of Matrimony, Broken Yet Unbreakable, 31 daily devotionals. This has been When Bliss Becomes Bruises. And if you're there and this is your struggle, feel free to reach out. 20316 is our SMS line. 0786316316 is our WhatsApp line. You're more useful alive than dead, and God desires that you would enjoy life and enjoy it even more abundantly. Well, this is goodbye from us here at Motivation Monday, but before I go, let me just give another reminder that we continue bringing you conversations like this because of partnership and donations from men and women like yourself. And so feel free to donate whatever it is that you're willing and able through paybill number 316 and for account, just write your phone number. But for now, shall we go ahead and live abundant lives? But please remember, every life is sacred. Every life is special. And do not dare raise a hand or even your tongue against someone. But also do not accept for a hand to be raised against you, because even your life is sacred and is special. See you next Monday.